We're live, but I'm tweeting because I'm
so supportive and so profesh.
I'm very
Hashtag
especially because I
Random Tuesday.
definitely got the wrong URL in my tweet, so fix
So
that real
profesh.
fast.
Hi, welcome. You have joined me. You are joining us at GeekSpaceTV for Inklings, where I get to hang out and draw with y'all. It's great. I'm very excited. I realize the clicking of that pen is probably the worst on the mic. I'm sorry. Yeah. Hey, who are you? I invited you. Did you? Surprise! You're streaming.
I don't normally do this on a Monday. Hi, my name's
Hi.
Random Tuesday. You might know me from other such things as Random Tuesday streams on Twitch and GeekSpaceTV.
Oh, and what do you do at GeekSpaceTV?
What do I do at GeekSpaceTV? I GM RPGs, and then also I'm the production and programming princess.
Oh, you have a title now.
I think I
always
gave
had that
myself
title.
that title before. But I liked the alliteration.
That's true. Yes.
That I was a
You should
production
add an addendum about
programming
runaway
princess.
runaway cupcakes.
Runaway cupcakes. I am the liberator of cupcakes.
Liberator of
I
cupcakes.
let them go free, and the corraller of cats. That should be my title. Cat corraller. Also, can we see chat?
Sorry.
That's okay.
I forgot that bit.
It's
I
okay.
assume there are people here, but you
can
never
tell
know.
them that we
Thanks
have
for hosting,
technical
Granny.
issues.
I talk to the abyss all the time, so it's fine.
It's okay. We are having some technical camera-related issues because
The top camera decided to
Camera's
spaz
out of
out.
this.
It's fine. It's totally fine. Everything's fine. Once chat's up. How's your Monday going? It's
Hi,
Monday.
Granny. Hi, DM. How's it going? It is Monday.
Yep. Nope, nobody
Nobody here. That's
I knew
fair.
it. Yep, I knew it. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine.
That's fair. But yes, so we're having some technical camera-related difficulties with our top-down camera, but the other 3 cameras we have are currently working.
Oh.
No?
Nope.
One of our cameras is probably working.
Hi. Welcome.
It's okay. We have good voices. You can just listen to the sounds of us describing our art. We'll make this
Also,
an auditory experience.
when the cameras go on, it'll be magic because suddenly there's gonna be art. So it'll be fine, guys. Don't worry. It's gonna be great.
So, the camera that's on the table works.
This
The
one works.
The other camera works.
Uh-huh.
This camera works.
Perfect.
So
The only
Great.
one we don't have is
we
top
don't
down.
have top down right now.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, it's fine. You can do without it. It's spazzing like crazy, so I'm totally great with that. It's fine.
Use
Hi.
a different word.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. It's just a derogatory term for.
I did not know that. So
Yep. It's cool. It's not one that everyone knows. Sorry. So what you drawing?
Something.
Something
gonna
that's
draw.
very specific. So my drawing skills are all centered around the ability to create costume sketches.
Mm-hmm.
And I have never made my drawings for anything else. So I
Okay.
might ask for advice or
Yeah,
suggestions on
course.
approaches to drawing things that are not just
Yeah.
me drawing a costume sketch. Or I could just draw a lot of different costume sketches. I was
should
like,
totally
I could
do
just
that.
draw spider sonas, but I
Yeah,
need
do
color
spider
markers
sonas.
for it. I need,
We
like,
have
coloring
highlighters somewhere. I think.
I think they were mine.
Oh.
And I
Okay.
didn't bring my pencil case with me. I should have brought my coloring pencils. That's too bad.
It's okay. We'll do it live. It's gonna be fine.
It's okay. I can generate some colors without the need of pens. Monkey 3. Oh, yeah, sorry. Would you like to just look at my beautiful mug? Isn't it such a good... What if I drew ciphers? Okay, so we had a conversation yesterday on my stream about the fact that I was getting rid of stuff, and then chat was like, what if instead of getting rid of stuff, you kept it? And I was like, this is not helpful. But also specifically they're like, but what if you made them magic items and then gave them to people? And I was
Magic
like, okay.
items?
Yeah, so I have like this, I have this very special necklace. And I mean special in the sense of like, it's weird.
This is real life. This is real.
Yeah,
life.
no, this is in real life. It is it's got beads on it, and then it has a little belt buckle and a key. That's the necklace. It's a key and a belt buckle. You know, like a normal necklace. the kind that most people wear. With
That
keys
that
and belt
Past
buckles on
Lauren
them.
thought was definitely the coolest thing ever.
Past Lauren was like, oh, this is my style. It's what Past Lauren wanted her style to be and wasn't actually what her style was. So that was the thing. And people were like, that looks like a magic item or a cipher. And I was like, okay, but I don't want to keep it. But they're like, but you should keep it. I'm like, oh no.
We have time.
We have a top down camera. Woo! Here, let me put my mug on this camera too. So it can just be on all screens. I think I think there's probably a spot that I can put this camera that it can be visible on every single view. It's mug, I should say. Less excuse, more drawings.
Should totally do spider sonas. We'll just think
The
about coloring
problem-
later.
The problem I have with doing that is like the way I draw is not with pen. So I'm very intimidated by having things I can't erase. It's true, there are pencils. This is a problem that can in fact be solved. Okay. I inspired you to go through all of your clothes, Black Ice. How's it going? Are you
Maybe found joy.
using the magical joy?
Or it's more of like a spark of inspiration or the spark you want to bring with you.
Yeah, we watched all of that show. It was a good show.
That's very cute. I think if you don't if what people are taking away are like, oh my god, my books, then I don't think they're actually considering what her show and her process is actually about. I think it's a very charming show on Netflix. It's worth watching, unless like cleaning stresses you out, and don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
but
definitely.
She definitely approaches it in a place of acceptance rather than shame, which a lot of hoarding and cleaning shows tend to do, and how capitalism kind of makes us feel about our things and owning stuff in general. And I think it's something very refreshing, and you can actually apply that into other parts of your life as well. Does this person spark joy in my life? No. Thank you, and cast into the pit of the abyss. Right? Like that's how you that's how you deal with friendships, right?
It's a strategy. That is definitely a strategy.
Quarter of the way through your clothes. It's awesome.
Nice. Yeah, it's definitely like a technique or a strategy for getting rid of things that is really only effective if you want to get rid of things. Otherwise, don't. You're just gonna be mad.
Oh, so if I got rid of everything that didn't spark joy in me, I'd be shivering in the ground outside. Yeah, exactly. Like I think it's more of a like, would I like to see this as I go forward in my life? I think a spark of inspiration. There's also like a translation as well, because I feel that I think a lot of words can be more nuanced and layered than our own, and joy is probably not the more versatile word to choose or use, I guess.
Yeah, it's an interesting. I mean, I imagine some of that word comes through the translation process, because it is a word that means something specific to a lot of people, but maybe isn't like.
I think the connotations that are in the English language and the expectations are very different than perhaps a different word.
Yeah. And that's not to be like, oh, she should have picked a different word, but more of like, I wonder
the way
if there's
language works, I think, is part of it.
other ways to explain it. Because I think that's something about teaching that you find a lot, is that just because it makes sense to you doesn't mean it's the best way to make it make sense to someone else.
Separate different sort of experiences, different views is hard. Words are hard.
They are super hard.
Oh no, Gritty!
Uh-oh. Your
internet is
screen is frozen,
garbage.
but your internet is garbage. Uh-oh. That's less useful. This has holes in it. Yeah, that's also a very reasonable approach. Like going with function, I think is a thing. I think this approach, like because I do this thing where I'm like, I don't wear this anymore. I don't even particularly like this, but like it holds a lot of meaning to me from my past. And so getting rid of it, it's sort of, I think, thinking about that, like, is this really something I want to take forward, like carry forward into the future was sort of helpful. Because otherwise it would just be like, well, I want to hold on to it because of what if I forget the memories associated with this t-shirt? And I'm like, whatever. My strategy as well, like personally for me getting around it, is I make quilts out of my old t-shirts. So I keep them and then I turn them into something that I'm going to use. And that's been really helpful.
New ways of dealing with sentimental things.
Because I think sentimental is like
I think it's also
an interesting part.
Because it's less about throwing away and it's about how do you want to bring this thing with you into the future, I think is kind of the viewpoint. I think, at least that's my interpretation of that, of this theory and idea, is that I think a lot of it is about moving forward and knowing that you bought these things or have these things for a reason and there's nothing wrong with that. It's more of, how would I like to see this object or item or feeling with me in the future? Buddhist about facing attachments, yes.
Take their old t-shirts, turning them into pillows. I'm drawing a sassy man. I'm drawing sassy. Sassy.
So sassy.
So sassy. My anatomy probably needs some.
It's okay. I sometimes will just kind of, yeah, that's a monster, that works. This is totally a lion. And I actually look at a real lion, I was like, oh, I didn't draw a lion. Definitely didn't draw a lion. I usually have to go back and re-reference things a lot more often than I care to admit.
I think that's okay.
Oh, no, it's
Not
not
like a thing you're supposed to do in art.
Yeah, absolutely. And same with human anatomy. Like, I am out of practice as well.
Yeah, t-shirt quilts are fun. I liked making my first one. I actually remade my first one a second time because originally I turned it into a t-shirt duvet cover, and it turns out that a bunch of t-shirts sewn together do not have the structural integrity to support their own weight, let alone a duvet.
Oh, no.
So there's a lot of different ways people will make t-shirt quilts. Like some people do the very like. I see what you did there, Jer. I see what you did. I'm acknowledging it. And then I'm going to continue with what I was saying. It's a lot of different ways you can make t-shirt quilts. And I think there's like the really simple ones. And then I, of course, was like, no, I'm going to do the more complex one. I'm going to like cut out specific size pieces. So I've actually made like a very quilty like t-shirt quilt, which was fun. And now it supports its own weight. Now it has structural integrity.
Now it's fine.
I learned the trick.
Now it's fine.
Interfacing.
Yeah, this is a secret to a lot of things.
It really is. I feel like interfacing can fix a lot of things when it comes to sewing.
Is it so good?
It's so good. It is. It really is. Yeah, well, and fashion anatomy is right. It's super stylized, and it's also like its own kind of weirdly specific form of anatomy. And then I always have to think about like when I'm drawing something, I'm like, how complex do I want to make the pose? Because the more complex you make the pose, sometimes the harder it is to see like what it is you were intending to draw. And like how the clothing fits on, right? Like a T-pose is kind of useful, even though it looks really dumb on a drawing, but it does tell you a lot about like what the clothes entail.
I think for design, yes, because like for a T-pose, you're not doing it for the figure, you're doing it to see the things you need to see. But I also think like when you do like the weird poses and stuff, it's like, oh, this is the energy or the shape. It kind of depends.
Well, and that's interesting because like when you look at a lot of fashion drawings, they're not T-poses. They're like sassy, right? They're like
angular,
walking and angular down the catwalk. And
they're also about shapes too.
Because I think they're not functional drawings. They're
concept art.
They're concept drawings.
Yeah, it's concept.
Which is sort of interesting. And like that's the place where I'm like, I don't have evocative drawings, I have functional drawings. And that's something that I would like to work on, but I think all of my background in making art has devolved into a lot of like function. Okay, so it has to have a hood. Let's be clear, I actually really like the aesthetic of Gwen Stacy's look.
Well, I'm glad you scratched it off to make sure. Smooch.
Not yet. You can do the little like the little crotch lines. You gotta think about like the way the fabric's gonna sit too.
Mm-hmm.
And where you get wrinkles. But hoods are the best, so we're gonna have a hood.
That's how you know you're sneaky.
Yeah, you can't stealth if you don't have a hood.
Otherwise, you're bound to fail all the time.
Well, because then everyone can see you.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's make it so that
You
no
gotta
one
get
can
rid of
see
that
you.
peripheral vision.
So if you don't see them, they don't get to see you.
Exactly.
Right? Is that how that works?
Yeah. Hoods are like ostriches.
Oh, yes. Wait, what? They live in the desert and have eyes the size of tennis balls?
Yeah. That's what a hood is. What?
Wait, what? What
Uh,
show is this?
Trooper would like to know when you started drawing,
Mm-hmm.
and what did you start drawing?
Oh, when did I start drawing? I've always been drawing. I have drawings from when I was like in kindergarten and preschool. What would I draw? I would just draw anything. You just draw with houses. I loved monsters. I love Greek myth, so that was kind of formulative in grade school years, I think. I would, before my sister was born, I would always make these like paper cutout figures or whatever. So I would like cut out a lion and then cut out wings and then tape them on. So I'd have a little winged lion and draw both sides and stuff and make them super accurate. And I would take these drawings against a window so I could get the sunlight to actually trace the other side and make them even. So I would have these like little monsters running around. That's what I did. That's how I kept myself entertained. And then after that, it's always is drawing. Always is drawing. You just keep drawing, and sometimes when you're not drawing, that's fine. And when you do, you remember why it feels nice. Like I think with any art, I would just kind of draw things to the best of my abilities. I didn't really practice a lot with references, or I did, and I didn't practice well with that. If that makes sense. I mean, I think there's different ways to draw with reference. There's the path of like I'm going to draw the exact thing to study a specific way something looks, or a way like human bodies work, or a way the specific pose or specific muscle looks like. And then there's also references in which you take an object and you look at the space that it occupies, and that's a little different. Seeing what edges appear and simplifying them, or I think a really cool approach is like drawing a model or drawing a figure as if you are cutting a block of clay with a sword, and you draw like, for example, if I were to draw my hand, right? I'm just looking at my hand with big strokes, like you would have, I don't know if you guys can see this, right? Yeah, oh, kind of, okay. This would be part of a wrist, and this is the other side of my hand. And a lot of it is just becoming familiar with the space. And it's never gonna look great. At least you'll never, like, I think personally, you'll never find that anything looks as perfect as it is in your mind. But it'll still be something, I think. Oh, you guys can kind of see it. Not really. If I can. This is
I don't know
different.
what I've started doing, but I am going to probably stop. And I'm like, I could solve this problem? Skirts.
And so
I appreciate. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you keep going.
I was just saying, I appreciate your compliment, Grinny, and calling me an artist. I consider myself an artist, but my medium is not this. My medium is fabric. Fabric is the medium in which I can create art effectively. And a little bit of foam, like a little foam. just
Dear
dance.
fashion people, please bring back cowls and cloaks. Yes, please. Can I add
Right?
my vote to this as well? Whichever petition, whoever's gonna make that petition, I will happily add that vote. You will have mine. I also as someone who purchases women's clothing, I would like hoods that actually fit my head. That would be nice. Hoods tend to be very small, and it's like, why? You want me to have long hair, and yet you give me no space. I do not understand. I don't understand at all.
Right?
This is double standard. I refuse it.
So my hesitation for creating an actual spider sona is that I feel like I need to go research a particular type of spider, and I don't like spiders, so that's like the least favorite. Like, I do not want to research the types of spiders that are out there, but I'm like, yeah, I want to go with like an Amazonian brightly colored spider, but also fuck, I don't want to look that up.
I think there's like been a lot of really cool ones that just kind of you pick a color palette and you do a thing. Someone even made like a very roguish spider with a cape.
Yeah.
Or a hat. There was a cute one where I think someone drew a Spider-Man with a really cool adventure hat, but a spider-human with an adventure hat, and it had a little bit of webbing stuck to it so they could hang it upside down with their hat and it wouldn't fall off. I thought it was really cute.
That's
It
super
was
cute.
Really cute. I was like, oh.
Exactly. There's tons of kinds of spiders, and I don't want to look at pictures of spiders in order to research them, but maybe it would help me.
No. I think as someone who doesn't like spiders, it's I don't know. You can get close to it. Look at cool shiny bugs. You don't have to do spiders, I don't think. I mean, if you want to put yourself through that, that's
I know,
I
right?
won't stop you.
No, but the equivalent of changing your sentence, like skirts, less so, because legs aren't that hard to draw. It's putting characters' hands in pockets and behind their back.
That's true.
Like, what if my character's hands were just never on screen?
I'm curious. It's been a long time since I had to learn to draw hands. Like, what is it that makes it so daunting?
So hands, one of the issues that I struggle with in anime, which is why I tend to do these like very one-dimensional flat turnarounds, is perspective. Perspective, because I know what a hand looks like. I can be like, that is a hand or that is not a hand. And I can draw a hand like this, like drawing it right, you know, a regular hand is not actually, like, I could probably draw a pretty normal looking hand that's functional in one single perspective. So it's like, what the fuck do I do with this hand when it starts moving around? And like when my hand's like this, like how do I draw from this
And, like,
particular angle? Because there's so many
Is
ways
this
they
in
can be
regards
shaped.
to like fashion or just in general for
Just
drawing?
in general.
In
Like, I
general?
think that's what's intimidating about hands is more so than other parts of your body is they can take these intensely different formations.
No, that's true. Yeah, and they kind of, along with a wrist that rotates, everything changes all at once, so you have full perspective on a single thing. I think with sketching, it you kind of learn the mitten shape very quickly, and you just learn to do. For me, it's kind of what sketching like this does. So when you're looking at reference, it's one thing to just draw it, but to understand like what shapes that you see, right? And so one thing I was drawing last week was how a hand actually looks more. Let's see, let me do this. Looks more like a flat rectangle first, and then a triangle, and then from there you have your first layer of digits, and then the rest of your phalanges, and your thumb actually lives like that. And these simple shapes are kind of where you start, and which is why mitten hands are super easy and nice, because they follow this same, they follow the structure that's fairly, like, easy access at first, and then from there, as you keep practicing, you add more and more complex, like, shapes, and, you know, you're going to extend it, then your extension looks a little different. You're still going to use the same rectangle and this triangle wedge, except now your thumb will be there, and perhaps your fingers are going to look like this instead, but you can still create that, right? And so it's like this, like, it is daunting because it's so complex. Like, it's that where do I start moment, and the biggest thing is to see what's flat and then where does it change. and it's actually like simplify it into like the most basic shapes that you can, even 2-dimensional if you can, and then think about the 3D later. Because when you like look at it from here, this little spot where the rectangle and the wedge meet becomes the angle in which the rest of your arm grows out.
So this is another interesting thing, is like drawing shapes, like 3-dimensional shapes. One, have habit of always drawing an isometric projection. Because I took so my art.
That's great for video. Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
envy that. I
my
envy it a little.
my art history, not art history. My personal history with art is design classes and some fine art classes, but like the fine art classes ended in middle school and a little bit into high school. But I did technical drawing for a lot longer. So like drawing costumings, like I have a pretty good understanding of how clothes fit on a body. So if you give me a really basic form, I can draw a lot of different clothing. I know what like lines look like and where wrinkles are and pleats and things like that. You know, so I can be like, oh well, this right here, this is your box pleat, right? And I'm gonna draw my fabric in here, and that's
oh yeah,
you know,
nice.
like I can draw pleat, like that's fine.
That's super cool.
I mean, let me do it in pen so you guys can see what I'm doing, right? So like, you know, if I wanted to give this character a pleated skirt, like I could totally do that. I know what a pleated skirt's gonna look like. Wee.
It's a fun pleated skirt because there's a wee in it. Wee.
Yeah. Right? So like that's cool. I can draw stuff like that. But I can do like ruffly ones too. Like what if this one is much smoother? What if it's more like gathers? Like where do your lines end up on your clothing? I can totally do all of that. I can be like, here's an isometric projection of a rectangle. It's a really bad one, but like that's cool because that's how we do technical drawings. Like technical drawings, you do these
from an angle.
You do these 3-part. You have your top, your bottom, and your side projection, and then you do this very specific isometric projection. And there's this like one very specific way of the long cube, yes, the rectangular prism, but like there's a specific design style sheet that you do for like product design and stuff, and I've done a lot of that, and so like that's the like this very specific ways of drawing things. So I've never taken classes that talk about anatomy and how to break down objects into their component parts, and then how to manipulate those things into anything other than an isometric projection.
You're wrong. It's a gelatinous cube now.
Yeah, I can draw a lot of gelatinous cubes.
It's really great. What
Also,
every dungeon needs.
Hi, Takeazy. Thank you so much for that resub and the moon cake. Thank you for that subscription.
This is what every dungeon needs, right? Every dungeon requires.
But yeah, so like I can give her like 5 different types of sassy skirts if we want to go. Like,
yeah.
Also, I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty sure if I actually drew my spider sona, I would just end up with something that looks like Tron. And like not in a bad way, but it'd be like
dark and light up and very cool.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, hello.
Oh, William TW. Thank you so much for that
$10
donation.
and a hello. Thank you. Yes, I am probably the monster queen. Also just add this. You're welcome. Figured. Every dungeon needs living jello. Also, it seems like the biggest fuck you monster of, oh, you want to talk about cubes? Here you go. Here's a hallway. Hallway full.
I'm not gonna lie, like my favorite monster in D&D I think is the gelatinous cube. Cause it's ridiculous. It's so silly. Like it's a cube and it slowly but surely squelches towards you, and I love that.
Oh, the body worlds is a whole, yeah, no, that is real deep. Yeah, I saw the ones for animals, but like the body worlds, like I think I saw a few human specimens. I did not catch the body worlds on tour. I heard it was a little like not great, some of it, but or another show was. What would a Stegosaurus look like, and how many monster skulls would it be made of? How monstrous would it be? It kind of depends. Why did it have to be a spider? Couldn't it just be a bat? I'd be okay with drawing a bat monster. I think... What is a cool thing that spiders do that I would want?
I mean, mine's really easy. Spiders like weave and spin. I'm like, they already got me. I'm fine. I'm basically a spider. Like that's where the Not. It's not.
Is there
a
something you
Nazi.
need to
No,
tell
no,
me
no,
since
no.
we've been dating for like 2 years? You're just basically
by
a
the way.
spider.
No, there's the entire Arachne. That's the entire like Greek myth about where spider or like this woman who gets turned into a spider because she's a really good weaver. And I'm like, yeah, cool, all right. Like, if you had to convert my talent set into the thing an animal does, spider.
I would
Sounds
want
like
to be able to fly and glide around, which I know some spiders can do. Also, there's a really adorable spider that spins a bit of silk with a little gob of like sticky stuff at the end and just kind of lassos moths. It's really cute. It's super tiny. It's really cute. It's like it takes one little finger, its little arms, it, like winds up its little lasso and like just sticks moths. It's really adorable. I'll have to think about the spider Sona. Have I RP'd as a monster? Yes, I have RP'd as a werewolf and as the beast in Thirsty Sword Lesbians. So yes, I have definitely RP'd.
Just a werewolf.
RP'd. Yeah, it was just a werewolf. Big ol'
Like,
werewolf.
I don't mean that as a bad way, but like,
It is werewolf. Yeah.
you do.
absolutely
Do you
werewolf.
have a type? Do you have a thing you?
I really love dogs.
Yeah, I'm basically a spider, and I don't like spiders. I think I should punish her because she was a better weaver. Right. I think if I were my spider Sona, like my core ability would be to actually produce the webbing. Like, and that's a thing that Spider-Man never did, except in the movies.
In the old one.
In that one set of movies. And I'm like, no, that'd be my core ability. I'd be like,
Oh yeah, no, Trooper, you never say that you're better than the gods. It never turns out well.
gosh, no. And multiple people did it in Greek myths.
Started wars over that shit. God. Not that I need to redefine what's cute stuff. Yeah, it's fine. I've just accepted that I will never fit in. I will fit in where I want. Actually, sort of lesbian. What on earth is that? I want to know more. A friend of ours is writing this amazing game that's very based around Utena and Steven Universe, about just being queer and being great, and it's wonderful. Eventually, I believe she will have more news and a playbook out, and you will definitely hear it from us. She's an amazing designer and an amazing person.
Yeah, it's a Powered by the Apocalypse hack about being a sword wielding.
But are you a lesbian? That's like one of my favorite silly Twitter posts. Swing sword. I have a friend who made a spider Sona she called Star Spinner. Her character has the same shoulder injury she does. She doesn't web sling, instead she basically lets out her web so she can slingshot off of them. That's super cool. I would love to stick to walls. God, that make climbing so much easier. But still, like, oh, you have to be so strong. You have to be strong as ants. It's like climbing. I've been climbing for a few months now, and this place that I go to has like, sometimes some kids running around. And you're like trying to tackle a problem. You're like, oh my gosh, this problem is so hard. And this little child will run up to it and just like, oh, it's nothing. It's like, great, you're just strong as ants, little tiny bodies and
right?
made of muscles. Your 50-pound bodies. They're so small. It's not fair.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose if I only had to lift that much, it'd be easier. But yes, also children.
But also children. Oh, spiders. No, I actually don't like spiders, so it's really hilarious. Lauren actually can keep her cool a lot better, so she kills them. I actually
wrong.
don't deal with spiders. I think one time, definitely in the basement bathroom, a spider definitely cast fear on me, and I was like, hey, Lauren, there's a spider there, and I left. It was real big. It was real big. But, you know, I think so the fear spell in D&D, where it's like you just have to spend your movement going away from it, is exactly word for word what happened. I am going to use my movement speed to get farther away from it.
It was pretty funny.
I mean, if they're small enough, you just get them out, but like these like basement spiders are just like huge. Yeah, I'd actually know what the strength ratio is. It's pretty intense. I mean, you think about like how efficient human muscles are, but also they're tiny. Bones are tiny and bodies are tiny. That's interesting. Oh, spider Sona, a werewolf, or a wolf spider. Those things are really scary, terrifying. Just be a wolf spider. Yeah, no, I saw Arachnophobia as a kid. Parts of it, that was not a fun time. It was not a fun time for me. I don't mind scorpions, actually. I don't want one on me. I don't want to really play with one, per se. But I don't feel the need to get away from one as I do with a spider.
I don't like scorpions.
No Scorpio.
Thanks.
I don't know.
I mean-
it's a look. I think for me, it's when I see a specific shape of a creature, of this very spider-like thing. I never had a traumatic experience with a spider. It's just ingrained in me where I see the shape and see the like its abdomen and its like kind of head bits. I freak the fuck out, and legs too. And I think the same goes with people who don't like snakes and rats. I think it comes from a place that is farther than out of our control.
I mean, some of it, like, there's an element with any phobia that they're not necessarily, or fear, they're not necessarily rational, and they don't need to be, for people to be experiencing them. It's, and so some of them are learned and conditioned, and some of them are kind of related to, like, deeper, weird things that we have. Do I ever miss Claudia when confronted with a spider? I don't know. I mean, Sal, it's any type of phobia. Like, it doesn't have to be rational, and that's why it can be difficult to understand. Like, why is someone afraid of this? And it doesn't necessarily even have to be connected to a actual experience. Like, it can be so a lot of people are probably afraid of spiders because they grew up around someone else who disliked spiders. Like, it's essentially a inherited learned behavior. Like, if anyone in your family reacted negatively to them, then you likely would have seen that as a child, and then sort of that became part of the way you would process and
Which
interact
also
to them.
means that genetics is amazing if stuff like that can travel through your genes. It's insanely cool that there's parts of you that are malleable so that you learn things. Like, I mean, you look at that in birds and other like animals and mammals in the world and in nature, but I don't think it's nearly as strong for us, but it still exists, and that's really cool. Yes, but also fear keeps you alive.
Yeah,
Those fears kept you alive a long time ago, so I think, like, they suck.
Yeah, there's a reason we have a lot of them, and it's because they caused us to survive at some point.
Yeah, fear of heights too. Like, yeah, I still get the when I'm climbing, I get what I describe as the cat moment, where I just like freeze up and my body's like, oh no, 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 and I just like, no. I let out a Rexy cry in the middle of the climbing gym at my friend. Because one, I find it hilarious, but it also helps me be like, okay, you have to focus and get down from here.
What if I just stayed here forever? So, I think that is an interesting question, is like, where do these fears and concerns come from?
Oh wow, freezes up. Yeah, that ranges too. Like, for me, I can, like I said, it's like, okay, like, if I walk into a spider web outside of nature, it's my fault. But if they are in my house, I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, you have to go. You either have to go out this door. If you're near the door, I will open it and I will shoo you out far away, and that is it. There's also, I think, you get, depending on the situation, your adrenaline hits anyway with fear. Right? I'm assuming to, like, fight or flight.
Yeah, I mean, it
can sometimes trigger that.
Phobias can often be like, welcome to Psychology Corner with Lauren Bond. So specific phobia is an actual clinical diagnosis, but also fear comes out of clinical, like having a specific phobia. That's sort of the way we experience fear. And what it typically is this experience of, they become kind of self-perpetuating cycles. So you have an experience where I encounter a spider, I feel uncomfortable, and then sometimes that discomfort might get reinforced. Like, your parents, you see someone else go like, spider, and so you're like, this is a thing. You learn early on that this is a thing that should trigger this response of, spider. And then it becomes this self-fulfilling cycle, because what happens is when you leave the presence of the spider is gone for whatever reason that might be, your all of that like cortisol, all of those stress levels, all of that adrenaline just floods out of your system, and you experience a sense of calm and much more comfort. Like, so you leave that uncomfortable situation, and so you come to learn that like, if I leave the uncomfortable situation, I feel better. And then that reinforces the phobia, because you feel uncomfortable and you know the way to solve that is to leave it. And so that sometimes amps up that level of discomfort that you have around the fear-inducing thing. And that's phobias.
That's how your brain learns things.
So it's cool. It's interesting. I mean, that's why like people talk about exposure therapy as a concept when it comes to phobias. And for some stuff, it can be really effective, because essentially what happens with exposure therapy is you force yourself to sit with that discomfort. And eventually that discomfort will probably go away on its own, because it's actually kind of exhausting for your body to be that stressed for a long time, because you're just producing so much adrenaline that you sort of stop feeling that feeling after a while, and you learn that leaving isn't the only way to get rid of that feeling. And so eventually you decouple that sense of discomfort with the source of that phobia.
And I think the name of this monster is Dreadmane, because it has immense mane. I'm just gonna keep adding more hair stuff.
I like
I'm
it.
just gonna see it. I also just played a pre-release for the new Magic the Gathering Allegiance, and Gruul is really amazing. I played a green-red deck. This is full of big, beefy monsters, and it's really fun. I think I've appreciated Magic and its like game mechanics, but I never really got into playing, and this time I was like, oh my god, it's really fun. I really like the most recent block. It's a lot of fun. It looks really great. Also, Gruul is really fun. I just drop a lot of monsters, and it's totally my jam. It's so good. One of my friends was playing Orzhov, and I've classified them as lawful annoying, because they are the cops of Ravnica, and they just like, no, we're just gonna enchant everything so you're tapped and can't do anything. I'm like, great, awesome, great. I have nothing to be. That was like the weakness of my draft deck. I had nothing to remove enchantments or spells, so that was fun. I'm building a full constructed Gruul deck, which I'm very excited for. Oh gosh, Osborne, holy shit.
You had a
in my
spider?
apartment big enough that I could hear it walking on the floor.
Nope.
Fun Demir things, huh? I got the Ravnica playbook, source book from Wizards and Dungeons and Dragons, and one of my favorite things is that they have this really cool little chart about which guild do you belong in, a little questionnaire, like, you know, do you like science, do you like nature, how do you prefer to spend your time, blah, blah, blah. And one of the questions is, do you like to keep secrets, and do you like secrets and like to keep them? And the choice is it Demir? I think it's Demir. I was like, oh, great. Great. There's only one choice, that's fine. Or lawful evil. I use the law for my own whatever I feel like. But it's lawful annoying, and my friend had this gross little screaming shield is what it was called, that would just, every time it tapped, you could just, you would force your opponent to just discard cards into their graveyard, and I just had no way of beating any enchantments to destroy the artifact, and I just died to that. It was like so painful. So yes, lawful annoying. Yeah, it's probably easier just to like, pre-releases are really fun. I really like them. For us, like, I just paid $30 and I have a drafted leaning deck. They have like a specific set, like, I don't know the actual technical terms, but they'll have like a bunch of cards based on that guild and the play style to help you build a better deck. And it's super awesome. You just draft a deck. Everyone is kind of at this weird spot. Sometimes they'll just find tricks to deal with it, and other times you're just like, oh, nope, well, I don't have creatures. We'll just figure it out and just annoy people. And it's about like having fun and doing and just kind of exploring the game. Definitely, you do get into it, the first one is probably going to be a little bit rough because you're like, with strangers, maybe, and this is my first time playing, and I have to learn this while playing this game. But it was really fun. The second time I went, it was a lot of fun. Actually, I also played a guild I wanted to play, so like a set and color that I liked. Yeah, so this block and the last block with they just kind of introduced the new introduction, like reintroduction of the 10 guilds, I think, of Ravnica, and I think the next block is going to be probably drama that unfolds, but we'll see. Yeah, they did one set of combinations, and this one's like the second set. I really wanted to play green-black on the first one, but then I was too late to signing up the pre-release. Iffy has a question for you.
Oh,
what about
me?
a talisman that lets you cast / materialize webs? Like Tassa?
Oh, like from She-Ra.
Hmm.
Metatassa.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And
Natassa.
Spinnerella.
Natassa, yeah.
I mean, I think it's functionally, no, you're a spider. You make your own web. That's how this works. I make my webs. And they're like super multicolored, and so I'm the weaver.
Oh yeah, spending way too much money. Yeah, no, for reals. 3 of my friends yesterday bought a full box set when they realized like, oh, you won't be able to buy any until like next week and whatever. So it's like $120, and I'm like, nope, I'm okay. I have a tattoo to buy. I have a tattoo I gotta like start saving up for, so I'm like, can't do it for Magic, but I will spend specific monies for specific cards if I know there's a deck that I really want. So I recommend finding a deck that you like building. Commander is something I also was thinking about looking into, but I know that's just like a huge, just like, oh god, this it's almost. I know that rabbit hole is deep, and I sit there and I admire it fondly. I don't think I'll
Being
ever
a nerd
really
is
step in there.
expensive.
I know, and math, God, that was one thing I had to deal with. Math and fun. Actually, it was really fun. Math is fun. I actually really enjoy it. Like, my mom used to, as like homework, literal like extra homework that I just did at home because my mom wanted me to do extra stuff. Oh, I love doing arithmetic worksheets because they're just really soothing, and it's just like, this is my brain just like tracking numbers and just being fast. So I would do a lot of speed tests, and so I'd only have like a very set amount of time to do all these things. So like to learn how to like take like arithmetic, like math, like quizzes faster. Because time spent being more accurate meant I have time to double check my work was the theory, but that's not actually what I ever did. I just did it very fast.
Just did more.
I just did more problems, yeah. Computer money first, then tattoo money. Yep, same. No, we were playing cards. Probably there's a ritual summoning. It's the blood moon. Everyone is weird today. I definitely will say that.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, at the end we traded things and made each other more powerful, so pretty sure there's a ritual. Topic on tats. Can I ask your general advice on getting tattoo for the first time? Also design your own tattoos. I've designed some of them, and a lot of it, I just have a very specific thing that I present to an artist. It's not a perfect idea, but it's a general, like, I always like to approach artists with feelings and ideas, less about the perfect image, because it's less of a collaboration when that happens, because that's what's gonna, you will have this design that means something to you or in one way or another, and then you are going to sit there for a half hour or more having this done, and that on its own is a new kind of experience and process and a ritual in a way where you're going to take this idea, make it a part of yourself, and then it will be with you forever. So it's like there's a very lovely ceremony to getting anything tattooed on you. I advise starting small, somewhere that you can hide away. Sometimes somewhere small on your wrist is a good one, like a lot of people like, or behind on your neck. Something that isn't going to be,
You know, a normal
obtrusive.
person. Second toe on your left foot.
Don't do that. Feet hurt. Joints and tendony things hurt, so don't do that. You're gonna have a very good pain tolerance. You could have a very high pain tolerance or a very different expectation of what tattoos are like. Don't be drunk, absolutely. Also, eat well and eat as if you're like it's kind of you want to eat. I usually say a good like mix of granola, like trail mix, or a lot of fruits will help, because you are going to be losing plasma and blood. And make sure your body doesn't crash. Make sure you eat well before getting the tattoo, and also bring a bottle of water, because you're losing blood, blood and plasma. Your body's gonna be trying to repair itself, and it will be dehydrating you. So definitely do that. Don't take aspirin for pain at all. Do not do that. You can, if you want to talk to your doctor about painkillers that will not thin your blood. There are options.
My tattoo artist recommended ibuprofen. Like, those are fine. They're NSAIDs, not blood thinners, like aspirin.
I would also ask your tattoo artist if they say no on that one. Respect their wishes for sure. There are like you can also talk to your doctor if you can. But definitely don't do Advil. You will thin your blood, and you will not be able, and it will just bleed forever, and that's not going to be great for you. Also, you design. I'm trying to think of what else. The pain is very different depending on where in your body, as well as you as a person. So what one person experience might not be what you're going to experience. A lot of the times it's not needles. It's not like being stabbed by a needle. It is more like someone dragging a knife blade across your skin, but never actually breaking the surface. That's kind of what tattooing feels like. With shading and color, there's a lot of force that's being pushed into your skin, and that's kind of what that feels like. I'm trying to think what else.
Paracetamol is the same thing as ibuprofen.
Oh.
It's the British name brand version of it.
Oh, the death save counter. Wow, yeah, that's interesting. So Grinny, for me, I sat down. Where I got it. Grinny, I sat down with the idea for 4 years before I got it, because I was really nervous about my first tattoo being something I hated. But now I'm just like, cover me in all the things, because tattoos were not as scary as I thought they were. You know, same with AJ. Once AJ got his arm piece, he was like, yes, please. I'm like, welcome, friend. Welcome.
Yeah, they're kind of like, once you open that can of worms, you're like, well, I can just keep doing this.
Oh, reeds. Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, tattoos have also made me more comfortable with my body. It is like kind of me reclaiming who I want to be and what I perceive, how I perceive myself. So it's a very therapeutic thing, personally. I still look at my sleeve and I'm like, oh, this is still here. This is great. And it's like a very good feeling. I get really good feelings from all of my tattoos.
I'm wrong. Paracetamol is the British name brand Tylenol. Acetaminophen.
Oops, accidental cap. I like those caps. Those caps are perfect. No, Lauren!
It is important to know the difference, because one of them
really
destroys your
cool.
liver.
That's really cool. She was drawing the whole time. I was being distracted.
I want to add color to it, but I don't have colors.
You did good with grayscale. That's really good.
Yep. The light gray would be a shiny pleather fabric. Thus it reflects the light. Thus I use a lighter color for it. The other part would be a black matte. There's a little bit too plain here, so I think there might be some sort of design on that.
Is
that
it a
would go over
black
the
light?
top.
Is it going to be a dark light kind of Tron?
These are probably rainbow sections.
Oh, good.
That go like bright colors, like
Oh,
with the silver lines over the top.
Yes, money's a big one.
They're expansive. That's the main thing that stopped me partially from getting any more, because I've got like a shoulder piece I kind of want, but I was like, oh yeah, no, I mean, I spent like $800 on my thigh piece probably, easily.
I've probably spent over $3,500 on my body, so I think about it like over the past like 5 years. I made a choice. Originally, I think I was waiting. I'm like, oh, wait till I'm like more secure, blah, blah, blah. It's like, wait, I have this finance and I can set it aside. And it made me learn to like save money too, because I have to save it far in advance with a deposit and then plan my months ahead. And so tattooing actually helped me form a concept of saving money, setting aside money for things.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not part of the design, but I feel like it's part of the aesthetic.
Yes, do not take most meds on empty stomachs. They don't make you. They will make you very unhappy. Bloodborne tattoo? What Bloodborne tattoo? I have a cleric beast on my leg. I love cleric beast. I suck at rogue games though, but I still love Bloodborne. It's so good.
There's a part of me that, like, you know, Spider-Man is like the wrist slinger, like just it's right here. It's like base of your spine. That's where I make my web from. People are like, "Where's your web come from?" And you're like, "Eh."
It would be a good distraction every time. Just like, hey, look, web.
You have some control.
Or you can
over
just
it.
pretend that you've given up and lay down on the ground and then just, you know, trap everybody.
There you go.
Oh, the gas lantern with the bloody threaded cane. Yeah, threaded cane's crazy. Super good. Chess over again. Yep. Oh, chess pieces, like, I don't think I would want one, but I do appreciate it when people make, like, I appreciate it on other people. I think they're like, oh, there's such beautiful ideas. I'm like, oh, like, that's really good.
Yeah, I have some cool ideas, or some ones that I would like, but we'll see if we ever get around to it.
A lot of good artists here. It'll be fine. I'm gonna cut open. Where's the scissors? Shit. Where did I put the scissors? Do you have
I
the
don't know.
scissors?
I don't have them.
Oh no! Where did I put them? I'm prepared. I swear I am. Wait, where did I put them? They were there.
Do you want to just move it down, or
No, I
over?
can't.
No?
I didn't.
What do we do? I don't know what the
I want to
plan
cut
is
another
right now.
sheet on top. Oh, I put them on top of the shelf because I'm a responsible human being.
That seems like a smart spot for them.
You want to do the line game?
The what game?
We draw a line and then we just kind of fill them in with whatever we want. It doesn't have to be anything physical. It could just even be designs. Oops.
Just putting this on top.
Yeah, cool. Let's put it on top.
Cool. I have this coffee mic here.
You can draw a line as simple or as complex as you want, and then we will switch places, and then you will just fill it in.
Oh, so like a
Just
shape?
or whatever, or whatever you want, and just it's me. Cool. Switch places.
Okay.
And you can doodle. It doesn't have to be an actual thing. Just doodle around. Hi everyone. I am Lauren. Random Tuesday on the internet.
Thanks.
So you do not like our face tattoos for cultural reasons? Or if you're a tattoo artist yourself?
I mean, it's okay to personally not like what someone else has done without, like, making them feel bad for it. Like, that's fine. I don't have to like everyone's tattoo. I can be like, cool, I'm glad they're happy with it. But I think it's
more of I see it as like, that's a choice, and then just keep going on, because I'm like, I can't, like, if I, like, yeah. Oh, I feel that.
yeah. How will you know which one of us is which?
How dare you? Oh, what am I gonna do with this? This is a game I made up, and I'm like, what?
I'm doing like the mindfulness doodles.
Oh, yeah.
You just sort of draw shapes and color stuff in. Come up with a pattern.
Yeah.
Go where it takes you. Anna's on the left and Jackie's on the right. I mean, this is where Claudia's been sitting for a while. I should have them change up seats.
Oh,
I
so
should
the
see if
different
they
interactions are
I should see if they
interactions.
want to change up seats. Is, I suppose,
yeah.
the secondary question.
Also, having to explain tattoos is like a thing you'll just get used to, or just like in certain situations, like
What
especially
does her
customers.
foot say?
Oh my god, what does that mean? What does that say on your arm? Like, what is that on your arm? It's a she-wolf. A what?
Oh, do I have a story?
Oh, good.
Oh, do you have a story?
Oh, good. Story
Come.
time.
I'm gonna come join you all.
Oh, that's really cool. A pair of twins
Hello.
that got tattoos so that people could tell them apart. That's really cute.
Steph.
So I have a French saying on my back, and this one time I was walking through, and it's only visible when I wear particular tank tops, whatever. And I was on this particular day, and I was walking through this bar at a hotel that I was at, and this drunk guy stops me, and to keep the story relatively short, he's like, "Hey, is that French on your back?" Yes, it is. I know a guy who can translate that for you.
Oh God, but it's not me.
What?
Oh, thank you. I had no idea what it said this whole time. I've had this tattoo for years. I always wondered. That's my story.
Good times. Good times.
It's a short version.
Oh, what does that say on your arm? Oh, it's like, do you know what that says on your arm? Like, yeah, it says Aleph. It means she's like, oh, I know, it's my language. My wife is named that. I'm like, great, I have a tattoo of your wife's name on me. What are you gonna fucking do about it? That was an actual interaction, except for the last part, because I don't want to get fired. It's my language. I'm like, yes, and I thought about this really hard, about making sure I knew a lot of the meanings and where it comes from, but sure. Make it about your wife. I'm sure she really appreciates it. I wish she doesn't tell you about us. So stupid. It's like, my wife. I'm like, great. Now you made this tattoo story awkward, asshole. I am not mad. It's fine.
No, you don't have any feelings.
I love people. I like hanging out with you guys. Y'all are great. You don't put me in awkward situations
Yeah,
where
we can-
you make things about yourself and, you know, make it really awkward for me and have me deal with the fallout of that awkward experience.
You're so complimentary about a Twitch chat.
Yeah, I am. Because customer service is the worst. So, like, it's not that I don't like the idea of helping people or doing things that make people happy. It's just that the boundaries become very blurred and they decide that good customer service means no boundaries. And it's like, no, actually, I'm still a human being, even if I'm on the clock. And so it's just very complicated in which, like, there's a point where I need to deal with the situation and keep myself okay, and also realize that this is not the place nor the time to change things like this. And it is hard. It is really hard. So be nice to people who are in the food service and customer service industry. They're people too, and people will have bad days. It's like customers and employees will too. So it's easy to forget on both ends. But it is actually very mutual. So just be kind. They really are. For the most part, they are trying their best. And sometimes it's things out of their power that force them to have very, very poor views about what their job entails, because perhaps powers above them have decided, well, this is your fault now, and this is your problem, and it stresses them out, and it sucks. Oh, Baka, you have a tattoo that says Baka. I mean, as long as you fully researched it and understood it, like research the thing. That's it. Just respect and research it. Yeah. Also, if customers are always right, you're defeating. That's not the point. The point isn't about being right. Just because you're right doesn't make things better. NotAlwaysRight.com is a website for a reason. So is whofarted.me. So I think it used to be. A friend of a friend owned that website, but whofarted.me. This is really good. I think it's amazing. You get a hand. I don't.
I mean,
hand.
I don't know what you get, so.
Oh, good. A mosaic snake. I
You
just
get
want to get a tattoo on
doodles.
handprints on my butt. And then put hands on one handprint and that's fine. I was talking with one of my friends about tattoos. She's like, I was like, I don't know if I should get tattoos because I'm the person who wants to get like eagle talons tattooed on my feet. I'm like, okay, Katie. I'm like, that's like its own set of pain, but also what? It's
Foot
delightful.
tattoos aren't
It's
that
delightful.
bad.
I'm just like, oh, Katie. Katie is this delightful creature. She's like a giant griffin stuck in a human body. I love her very much. She's great. And also a big like art mentor to me, so it's very lovely. You can actually follow her if you just look up Katie Hargrove. You actually be really surprised by like the coolest shit she's made. She did Zaitan in Guild Wars 2. She designed the char along with another friend, Kristen, in original Guild Wars. She worked on Gigantic. She now works at Valve. Legendary. So legendary. It's great.
Right?
That's great.
Pretty cool.
So you have a customer service wolf. Have you read the customer service wolf comics? No. Are they about me?
I have seen them, but yeah, probably.
Oh, Sal, no. Once I said Gesundheit because a customer sneezed, and he took that as an invitation to lecture me about the glories of Christ Jesus. For the next half hour as I tried to break away.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. So the comic retail is a yeah. Mm-hmm. I will look up customer service wolf. Okay, I will look that up. It just search me. So yes. Oh, a long way from perfect. Interesting. I delight in drawing hands. I still don't get them right sometimes. I get that frustration also with like when you're trying to do like a frontal, like front on, like hand dramatic handstands. I'm just like, don't start with those. Like, simpler the better.
I've made
I smashed out of the lurk at the mention of Guild Wars 2. Hi, yes. Okay, like, when I played Guild Wars 2 when it first launched, I nearly cried when I ran through Ascalon because it takes place, like, 250 years in the after the first Guild Wars, and it just, like, oh my god, it just destroyed me. I cried. It was really pretty. I also got to play a Char, and I was talking with Katie about when she designed the skins for Guild Wars 2. She designed all the most of, if not all, the Char skins and some of the horns. And she was talking about how all the female Char skins are definitely based on domestic cats because the female Char have a really long, horrible history. Females are domesticated. They fought their freedom. They're running around now, but she thought it would be funny if they all had more domesticated cat looks because they've been kept away for so long, and that the males would have more wild cat looks just because of the lore. And then her comment on the Char was like, literally all people want to do is just make their own cat, make the version of their cats. And I'm like, oh, I feel real called out. I literally made Rexy into like my Char. My Char just looks like Rexy.
Yep. She shows it to me a lot.
She's really cute. The big fluffy tail.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're a very fluffy cat.
Yeah. I haven't played since Heart of Thorns, only because like a lot of like the narrative team was just like, oh no, this feels like it's missing what I enjoyed from when it launched, like the original game. And also like a lot of the designs are just like, oh, it looks like Final Fantasy. It's like, it's fine. It's not that it's bad, it's just for me, it just like, it doesn't feel like Guild Wars. It doesn't feel like the Maguma Jungle, so, and I just didn't have the time to play anymore. I didn't understand, yeah. Guild Wars 2 is just very pretty. It's not like a true MMO per se. It still has a bit of the original Guild Wars in it. It's more about like kind of running around. For me, it was just kind of running around. I didn't wind up raiding or participating in dungeons as much as I did with WoW, just because the system and structure wasn't as technical as WoW is. So like I come from WoW from like years, and you know those dungeons after a while, especially with the I think the Deathwing expansion was just like, oh, you gotta do everything else, you're gonna die. Whereas Guild Wars, like, hopefully this works. Is kind of how I felt a lot of the dungeons happened. It's just like, just keep hitting it and maybe it'll die. So
Also,
I never got around to like learning
how to
actually play that.
Sure, you're not wrong.
I'm trying to remember where I tried to active. Oh, absolutely. She's a thief, and she's
Your Char would leave the spot that she had been in.
I haven't logged in a while, so actually right now, technically no.
Well played.
She has more active time than Rexy does, that's true. I don't know how to pronounce the Ciala squid. Ciala squid? I feel that has a different pronunciation, but I'll find her. One time her...
Keep hitting it, and maybe it will die.
Oh, I got this when I was practicing dramatic. I should explain how the hand is almost a meme now. Oh, interesting. Jump puzzles, yeah. I played Guild Wars 2 with a computer with a keyboard that had a broken space bar, so I still managed to get all those jumping puzzles, but I hard moded it for a very long time. Yeah, lore. I love World of Warcraft's lore.
I've never played an MMO.
Oaf pickle. I hope your feet aren't wet. I hope you've gotten dried socks. I really hope you do. Wet socks are the worst.
Oh, they're unpleasant.
I have described unpleasant feelings in the way that I've been trying to learn cognitive tools as being stuck with, like, being uncomfortable is like having wet socks. Like, you can change them and fix them later, but right now you're gonna have to deal with it, and it sucks. And that every single everything that I've managed to catastrophize is like sitting in a puddle. I can make it a splash zone, or I can just stand up and just not be in the puddle. And it's helped a lot. Like, that visualization has helped a lot. I kind of rewarded my natural tendencies to wander into strange areas in the world. Yeah. Yeah, I love Guild Wars. It does reward you for getting to weird spots. It's really fun. I just love the world of Ascalon, like just the spot of Ascalon and how they filled in the world. It's just so pretty. I still am, like, I don't want to get the new one, but they go to Alona, and I love Alona so much. Oh, Nightfall was such a good expansion in the original Guild Wars. The storyline for Alona, for Nightfall, was just so good. It's so good.
Yeah, for me, MMOs just don't hit my, like, video game fun button because I don't like grinding. I just don't care about it, and that's, like, a huge portion of most MMOs.
Still
I'm
no
like,
dervish.
give me the story and dating in a game. I'll accept one or the other.
Or both. Both is preferred.
Ideally both. And so, yeah, most MMOs have had little to no appeal for me. Even the only one I got close to maybe picking up was the Old Republic, because I was like, I do kind of want to run around a Star Wars galaxy.
Yeah, for sure.
But then I was like, but I could just play KOTOR.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's fair. Totally fair. Yeah, WoW never ends. I enjoyed Lich King. Lich King's amazing. There's so much good stuff in there. And then the Deathwing had a great intro. Like, the beginning of it was like, sure, I'm buying it. And then after that, I'm just like, no thank you. Just not interested anymore. Anybody still playing Guild Wars 1? I have not logged on in a long time. I was really close to getting one of the titles that I wanted. It's been a long time. This is a very long time. Grinding.
Monster Prom DLC, we're getting to it.
Is a new one?
It's coming out in February.
Oh, good.
So
Good.
it's
Oh,
time.
good. Yes.
It's planned. Dragon Age has too much grinding. I don't find the combat in that game interesting at all. To the point, I finally put it on easy, and I was like, oh, this is better. Now I can actually enjoy this game, because I can just get through the combat really quickly and get to the story. But the first part, like the first section, now I'm like hitting the meat of the story where they're like, cool, like do stuff for the characters that's interesting and specific, and not just like grind for money. And I was like, I don't care about the money.
I'm on the same boat with you, BP. I like just running around doing my thing. Sometimes, like, I used to play with my friends, we would raid, but I definitely was the fish feast person and the first aid / alchemist / potion / here, have your drugs, guys. Let me raid as a rogue. Because there's no only way to get in as DPS. I was like, but I have all your things here that you want. Hire me. Also, was like top 2 DPS all the time, so. What was the other one? That was the other one. Debating on getting Guild Wars 1. It is. I don't know. I haven't played that game in a long time, so I don't know how it's gonna fare as like a game.
That's an interesting question. Like, how well did it age?
Yeah. And like the designs are really lovely. The story is great. The twists and turns in the storytelling are great. I don't know how good of a game it is now, but the story is great. Ignore factions is what I've heard. I love the Jade Sea and the concept behind it, but from the writer himself was this like factions was a disaster apparently. I have mixed feelings about it. It's fine. And then Nightfall was very lovely. The story is really amazing. Some really good like gods and lore stuff. Like, oh, so crazy about it. It's so good. It's James. James was like, don't look at factions. Factions was a mistake. And I'm like,
no.
James, no. One of my friends was like, he worked on the writing for Guild Wars, and was just like, oh no, buddy. Oh, why? I'm like, okay.
Oh no.
Oh.
Yeah, like Destiny was one that looked really interesting to me when
Yeah.
it came out, and then when I realized it was kind of heavy into the MMO portion, I was like, I think I'm gonna not get into this.
Oh, so
Plus, it wasn't on PC, I think. When it
Random
came out. None of my
tangent.
friends were.
if you remember back when I did that fast drawing of my hand, and the reason why those practices are important is when you start being able to visualize the shapes. I'm drawing these scales what feels like nilly-willy, but there's actually a reason for these notches to be where they are, because they kind of define the angle right here, or like kind of where your bone would be, right? Because right now you're like this, and so right now technically the bone would be laying around this area instead of like, it would not pronate. It's definitely pronated right now. So I learned the difference between pronated hands and supinated hands, because you want soup. This is supination because it's soup. So your pronated hands are doing this, and so the way that your bones or face are going to be a little different. So this one is going to have kind of a crease going down with the other bone reaching over the top. A lot of it's like looking at what things do and why anatomy is important. It's like, okay, well, why should I go look at bones, and why do I need to know what bones look like when I'm actually drawing flesh on top? It helps you. It's not that you have to draw the bones. Some people like that process, but part of it is like when I'm just kind of like, whatever, in my mind, I kind of have an idea of where things are. And you're talking with like pens and the permanence of it. I at one point in high school, I used to do like pencil drawings, and then I'd be like, oh, I can't see this drawing anymore, like, and I don't want to use charcoal. I hate charcoal, so I just like ink it over. And then after a while, I just started doing a lot of just bad drawings with ink and forcing myself to like learn how to draw with ballpoint and pen, because it's a good in between for ink and pencil. It also made me learn to be more confident and about my lines. I had to make a decision, I had to commit, and once it was on the paper, I had to deal with it. And sometimes they weren't great, and it sucked, and then I would just draw something else, and that would just be the end of that drawing, and it would suck. But this is kind of where it all came from. It wasn't from a teacher or anything, it was just a choice at the time, and I didn't really think about the fact that it would help me create more confident lines or change the way that I see and draw. It worked for me, it might not work for you, but it definitely helps me get over it at some point. Or like you just accept it and you just learn, and like, oh, well, you know what, this is how it's going to be. Well, it is now, this is what I'm going to deal with. Yeah.
Like that you right as you were giving an art instruction is when they're like, now we're making random tangents, and I'm like, nope, now we went back to the topic at hand, which is art.
Oh, well, I mean,
okay.
that's the whole point.
Also, random tangent is like arguably too close to my name, and I might have to like sue for defamation.
Oh, that's fine. You're just going to get part of the money back anyway?
Yeah.
So
I
what, to
just
pay
think
for
no.
rent? Does that work?
But my arch nemesis is Specific Wednesday.
Specific Wednesday.
Specific Wednesday.
She's always ahead of you.
She really is. She's the worst. Someone was asking, I don't know which Funko exactly you're referencing, but that one is Katniss, the girl on fire. Apparently there's a bunch of them. Different possible Katnisses, and then Spider-Gwen's tucked in over here. Spider-Gwen. Spider-Gwen.
Also, if you haven't seen
Spider-Gwen.
Spider-Verse, if it's still in theaters in your area,
I think it is.
You need to watch it. It's real good.
It's real good.
I'm very indifferent to the Spider-Man franchise, but the movie was really good. So good. They're really good villains. Oh my god, they're such good villains.
I mean,
Becky,
yeah, you're right, Carlin,
yeah.
because it was Wednesday Specific was part of the Hammer and the Fang, which was our buddy cop spin-off of Shadowrun Corporate Sins, starring Cromwell as the Hammer and Fang as Fang. And they were led by the, like, frustrated police chief, Wednesday Specific.
Wednesday Specific. Great.
And a few other things. But yeah, I would thoroughly recommend going to see Into the Spider-Verse if you haven't yet.
Topic at hand. Well played,
But
Granny.
I didn't realize I was saying that, but I will pretend that I did it on purpose.
Wherever Tuesday goes, Specific Wednesdays is never far behind or ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Is it time is wibbly wobbly?
Time is
wibbly wobbly
wibbly
nonsense,
wobbly, right? Does that make you my nemesis, Krellin? That is unfortunate. Well, I guess that's the way it is now. I'm real sorry. I'm real sorry about that.
Aw,
But you know,
I did not know there's a Dragon Ball Xenoverse. That's super cool. I have a bigger affinity towards PvE. I don't really get the same kick out of PvP as I do like raiding or doing like dungeons and stuff. I don't know why. Maybe it's because another person, or maybe it's like the specific challenges aren't the same. No, they aren't. But
A plum is a good word.
plum.
Also, it looks really silly.
Yeah, it
Like
does.
a plum.
plum.
Plum. I like that. A plum. It's like you tried to write a plum and then you kind of messed up some of the ending.
Aw.
I mean, in the nicest way. I
It's a
like
strange
that
word.
word.
There's some
It's a
words where
weird
I'm
word.
like, who did that and why?
It's a weird
Why
word.
would you do that? Or just Akra. What's his name? Romaine. Oh, Akra and Romaine. That's so good. Squash. Oh, that's really cute. I'm
Squash,
sorry.
okra, and romaine. Nice.
That's
Nice.
really cute.
Except here is your plum and here is your doom.
PvP is like, I don't know.
I mean, really, I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it because I see, like, a lot of games like League or things like that that just didn't interest me, and then I played Overwatch, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I actually really like how Overwatch plays, and I think it's that combination of the like, there's a limited number of things that you have to do. Like, most characters, even a difficult character, functionally, they only have, like, 4 different buttons that you can press, right? You have your alt, you have your E, you have your right click, your left click, and maybe something else. So there's not a ton of things to remember. When you're bored of playing a specific character, you can like switch it up and play a different one. And matches are short, and I think there was a lot of things about it that sort of appealed to me. And also a lot of my friends were playing
Also,
it,
I
so
think
I got into
the
it that
goals
way.
are fairly clear, right? Because with Overwatch, there's only 1 point and 1 escort, right? Whereas a lot of, I'm looking, because I'm just mainly comparing it to WoW, even the PvE, like, player versus player maps, like, not Arathi Basin, it's the other one. You had to, like, get together, leave someone behind to defend, and then go with the party to go and raid the other bosses. Like, it's pretty much very Dota-esque, right? Take over points as you go, get resources, and defeat their leader. Like, even then, I was just like, that was a little more manageable, but at sometimes, like, if you didn't have a good pickup team, it was just like, well, that's dumb. Like, and a lot of it is, like, the investment of people, and I think Overwatch does a great job in keeping the objectives simple. That's how random, like, I like being able to do random matches.
Yeah, because I
Right?
played some of,
That
we
makes
played some
sense.
of like Heroes of the Storm at one point,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
just
Oh,
like
God,
I
no.
struggled with it because I didn't know what the
Yeah.
objective was at any given point.
There's so many. Yeah. It was
like,
not,
and
there's too
I
many.
couldn't figure out what to do, so I was just like, well, I guess nothing right now is the answer to that question.
Dota's not for me.
Also, I think I discovered way later than I should have, after probably a solid year of playing Overwatch, that capping the point was
Putting a hat on it.
Wasn't putting a hat on it, which is what I thought it was. It was capturing. It was it was a shortened word for capture, not like I capped the point, like I put the lid on it. I got it done. Like, functionally, I thought it meant the same thing. I just didn't realize that it was short for the word capture. I just thought it was its own word.
You just thought it was like a weird term
It's like,
phrase.
yeah, it was a weird
right?
turn of phrase. Like, you're gonna cap the point. Like, you're gonna put the cap on it. You're gonna finish it off. You're gonna close it. You're gonna put the
It is
hat
yours
on.
now.
You finish the outfit, right? Like, so I thought that's what it was.
It's really
but-
cute.
But yeah,
It's real cute.
it turns out it was short for the word capture. And now I feel like we should call it like a cap card instead. But yeah. Yeah,
Do you
I
want
mean,
to
I
be
don't...
a card captor?
Card capture. Yeah,
Card capture.
Just a card cap.
Card cap.
Yeah, that was the thing. We talked about I think I tweeted about it at one point. But that was my interpretation of it. And it was there are some words that like people will type and I think it's like I know what the meaning of, but I don't know the etymology of it. But I enjoy Overwatch, but I've never
Doomfist?
played
Yeah. I
any
wish
other online MOBAs.
I wish you could
with
get better at
matchmaking.
Doomfist. I love Zenyatta. Hat for my friends, hat for my enemies.
I did play a little bit of the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, and that
really
actually
cool.
wasn't terrible.
Just
I
because Mass
kind of-
Effect 3 was a good game.
It was a good game, but it was also PvE in like kind of a satisfying way.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't like that was while I was still becoming a better video gamer, because that was like Mass Effect was really one of the first series. Knights of the Old Republic was straight up the first like long-term video game I played that wasn't like The Sims, or Civilization. So anything that required like Twitch reactions, and even not when I played it on pause. And so like Mass Effect was really one of the first games I played where I had to be fast.
Oh,
Right, where you had to respond to something and do it in real time. Almost every other game, it was either it didn't matter, like The Sims, or you could just constantly pause everything.
Tune for your character in MMOs. Yeah. I've forgotten. Oh my gosh.
But I imagine, I think now especially, like in the beginning, Overwatch being the first one that I played with, and then I finally started doing random matches. Like now I don't care. Like I don't mind if I'm matched up with complete strangers and I hate all of them because none of them are on the point, or they're like, I need healing, and I'm like, I am Lucio. You come to me. That's how this works. I stay on the point, you come to me, I heal you, and then you can do whatever you want. There's no.
It's also like when I play Pharah and I see that the healer rollout has no mercy and I continue to pick a Pharah, I will health pack my entire time there because it's not. It is my responsibility to keep myself alive.
Yeah.
You know, especially if no one else can get to me.
Or you
like,
choose to like come down and chill out with the healer for a moment and then go back.
If there's a Lucio, then I drop down and just hang out for a second. It's risky as fuck, but like, you still make a choice. Like this is your main, that's great, but like you still in this match need to be able to do your part with your team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Hi, late to stream. Oh, hello. Thank you for joining. I can't stand PvP dying over and over and over again. Yeah, it does.
But I think
sense of progress and achievement. I think it also depends on the game for sure, but for the most part, I don't usually partake in PvP because, like, even if it's like Mass Effect, it's mostly because like I'm like, it's a instinct from I think WoW and being in like I don't have good experiences in PvP. I.e., my brain has been like PvP has never been fun. Don't do it. It's never gonna be any different. You've tried, and so that feeling is still kind of there.
Yeah, whereas I think for me, like, I've gotten to a point where I actually think I would be willing to try a different game. Like, because that was the thing, is, like, Destiny came out before I'd played any of these, so I was like, oh, I don't want to matchmake with strangers. What if we don't get along? And so, like, I think now I would be fine doing that in a way that, like, I found a game, I could be successful at it, I enjoyed it, and so now I'm kind of like, oh, I could do this in other games if that were to happen.
Yeah, and I think with Overwatch too, like I used to have that fear of like, oh, I'm not going to do well on this team. It's not going to be a fun game. Those become less and less frequent to the good games that happen, and so after a while you're like, oh, this might happen, but the higher chance of like, hey, you know what? As long as you're having fun, and if it gets terrible, take a break, come back, or you know, switch up, do your best, and if you've done your best, then you know. Shitty team comps happen. They just do. That's the risk of like running pugs, and that's okay. Same with like dungeons and stuff. Just because someone's like, well, I'm geared for this, doesn't mean they know tactics, right?
But I think for me it'd be the same with like because Destiny wasn't PvP, it was PvE, and I had still like felt self-conscious doing that, and so I think
raids and
doing
dungeons,
raids and dungeons and
same.
things like that with people I didn't know, and so like but like knowing like, oh, Anthem's coming out, and I've had BioWare's had a good track record, I'm potentially willing to give it a shot. And then if I found a different MOBA that was in the vein of like Overwatch or something like that, I feel like I'd be more inclined to try it than I used to be.
Yeah, same. I think so too. I think that's kind of a cool spot. I think Overwatch has simplified it in a way that is like easier and more fun, I think. I think Tactics is great, but it's a good in-between in which you can go ahead and metagame each character, like get really into all of that, and then figure out what comps are the best, but also you can just jump and have fun and do some really weird comps. Like I've seen some really weird comps happen. I've also like bulldozed other teams and felt really bad about a win before. Like it's such an immense. After a while, like you play enough games, the range is so ridiculous that you're just like, well, it's literally just, hey, whatever, something will happen. It'll be funny or whatever. I think we lost a good game once where I was playing Bridget and I had 8k damage, hero damage, and 14k healing. And we lost. It was fine. It's just at the very final leg, like in our last few minutes, we just weren't teaming up, and it was just like they just kept getting us. I was just like, oh.
I think my
I'm ready for any raid, but you still stand in the fire.
Yeah.
You're still a warlock, and you're still channeling in the fire. No, I don't have feelings about warlocks and fire.
Okay. Yeah, I think I would. It'd be interesting to see because I don't know how I feel about a game in which I'm going to be locked behind story by requiring me to play with other people, and I think that's where like something like Overwatch appeals to me because I don't care. There's no story when I'm playing that game. I'm playing it for the sheer thrill of that dopamine hit when I win.
Yeah.
As opposed to like Anthem, I will be probably playing it for the story. I don't know how interesting combat will be. Like, will it be sustainable
what is
on its
Anthem
own?
going to be? Have they even announced it? They don't know.
They have details out about it. I haven't looked at it because I'm like,
Feelings of druids and fire, but I gotta get my healing touch off. Like you have hots. You're a druid. You can move. Oh. Also, if you spec'd correctly, you should have insta-cast heals for most of the, like, it'll proc most of the times. Or is that shamans? I think druids wind up having an insta-proc. I'm okay as long as the team remembers to push the objective. Yes, chasing other teams, the other team is like a thing that I sometimes do. But I like baiting people, especially as Pharah. Especially if I know like there's certain people who are just like, I don't like this Pharah, and I'm like, okay, cool. I'm just like, I'm gonna lure what is it, Ashe and Mercy away from the main group so that they can cap the point. And it's worked before.
Yeah.
I've kited two very spicy healers away from their own team.
it's also a little different though. Like Pharah's job is not to be on the point because Pharah's strengths are not necessarily up close. Like that's a waste of that character. It's kind of similar with like playing Sombra. Like Sombra is designed to go after the weak person and pick them off.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Similar to Tracer, but sneaky Tracer.
Because you know what's interesting about Sombra? You can't push the point while you're invisible. You physically you won't be capturing the point. You won't be pushing the
Does it
payload.
mean she's in a different dimension then?
I don't know, but it's the only one because like it will count for like May when she's in her like freezing healing block. I'm pretty sure will still count as capturing the point. But Sombra does not capture it when she's invisible, which is interesting.
Met a whole range of Mercies that like are very like go from just like weird to oh my god go away. So there's some Bastion Mercy combos where I'm like, oh, you tried, I'm sorry. And other ones I'm like, oh my god, I hate this is the worst. There. Trying to catch up on chat. You guys are talking so many games.
Yeah, Anthem looks
feelings,
cool.
I have feelings of druids and fire. I'm like, yeah. You're a tree, fire's literally the worst for you.
Anthem does look cool. It does have mech suits, which looks cool.
Destiny 2, yes. I've heard Destiny 2 fix a lot of things. Also, it's like a lot of... Destiny has cool lore. I am not willing to play the game to figure out that lore, though.
Right.
I need to play, but I love the characters in Overwatch. Yes, it's very lovely. I also love that all of their lore just happens off screen, and it's very cool.
Oh, and for sure, Sal, I'm not like complaining about it. It's just like a thing like that's one of her core abilities, which means that she's probably not the best one to be on the point pushing it. Like, it's not really her main job.
Oh no! Yo, 5100. That sucks. It's okay. I sometimes watch on my phone. I'm just like wanting to like, hey, I'm gonna drop into chat and say hi. Like the one time, I think it was with Marcus talking about the werecrows, and I happened to just like be, I was like, I think I was about to cook dinner, so I was like hanging out in the kitchen waiting for something to boil, and I was like, oh, let's see what they're doing on Twitch, and I was like, oh, werecrows. I'm like, squaw? Snack? Me?
Yes.
Is this me?
Yes. In case you had forgotten, you are in fact a crow.
I think Overwatch is nifty, but can't play it. It kind of yes, it does. Yeah, no, I understand totally. I didn't like my brain's pretty good about it, except for one time when I played with Google Earth in VR, and then my brain was like, no, you're falling, and I'm like, oh no. So yeah, that hurts. One time, there are a few times I've gotten nauseous. There's like 1 or 2 times I got nauseous from Overwatch. I had to take a break from that one. It sucks. Yes. Although I do hope that they introduce more people of cultures, colors with new characters. Yes. Be more daring in your female designs.
God, it's not just them.
I know. The video game industry in general. There was like this really great, there's like someone has shown us concept art of the 3 sisters in Destiny 2, I guess these big statues. And it was like they were holding swords, and unless they had the title 3 sisters, you wouldn't have assumed that they were female. And it was still pretty cool. I still like, they didn't read specifically as very male either, but like, I was like, okay, those are choices. You didn't do the boobs and the hips. Like,
Yeah, it's not just
Yeah.
it's not just video games. It's
Everything.
everything. Same face is a pretty big problem in a lot of art and design.
it's okay. It is a process, and the little steps do matter. It is still important to know where else we want to go and progress forward. And it's like, it is important when you can to be like, this is great. We could do better, and that is okay. And it doesn't negate the progress you made. There's still things that are like, we really need to change. Oh, but yeah, black screens. What do you mean we don't have variety in body types? What do you mean they're humans? We're people too. It's fine. Okay, it's 5:37. Gonna be wrapping probably close to around 5:45. So if you guys have any questions about any things we talked about today, like hands and designs and video games and things and feelings, might get them in now. I hope this was fun and educational. Human anatomy is a big topic to discuss, so it's hard. Yes, no, absolutely. Which is why I still play that game and I love it and I love the characters. Like, I absolutely love the characters.
I can criticize something while I still enjoy it. So
It's still an overall good thing, and I enjoy it absolutely. Hecking yes. I would like better skins for Bridget. I'm very tempted to get one of the moon skin just because the armor is great, but I'm just like, oh, give me something good. Like, I don't know if y'all seen Anna's Bastet skin. That thing's amazing. So pretty. Like an Australian character who actually looks like yes. Instead of an alternate skin that you have to pay for and have it just be the default, that would be great. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's also something to be said for, like, let's not put the character in traditional clothing, right? Like, that part, but he doesn't bear any features that would suggest he is of anything other than a pretty stereotypical white culture.
Also, you just put a mask over him. It's kind of like gonna be hard to tell, right? It's like there are certain choices in which I'm curious. Or like, I know pipelining in games and industries is really weird and varies incredibly through studios and through projects and through design teams, and so it's hard to say. There's some things that work really well for some teams because of who they are and how they jive and the chemistry that works between them. And other times, not so much. Like, a lot of the intel I heard from, like, the stuff I've heard about Gigantic and as a studio, especially and mostly from the art team from development into finalization of characters, is, like, really cool. It is such good work. So it all depends. It varies. And, like, no one has a rule book about this, which is why everything is still really hard because we're still figuring it out as we're going and as we're, like, advancing very, very quickly. That tends to happen. Okay, cool. We're going to wrap. Thanks for joining me today and hanging out and talking and rambling. It's been a great joy. I really do miss just hanging out and chatting with a lot of you. I'm just recognizing a lot of names, and I actually get to talk with you. This is really great, and drawing and talking about tattoos has been really joyful. I'm Steph, she, her. You can find me at Starfruit Junkie on Twitch and Twitter. I actually have some really cool stuff on my Patreon. If you pledge at some point in the month of January, I'm going to print out some really cool gold stickers. They're really shiny. I'm really excited. I'm going to order them.
Shiny.
I'm going to order them this week, and I'm really excited. So you'll get to have a pair of those. It's going to be real great. Also, like, I've been drawing a lot more, and it's really great. I've readjusted my tiers, so you can just join for $2 and see everything. I kind of share everything as a blog post because it's more about sharing what I do, and that's something I genuinely enjoy doing. So check it out.
I'm Random Tuesday. You likely know who I am. You can find me here on Wednesday night with another episode of Worlds Beyond, and this one's gonna be good. It's gonna be fascinating. I believe I would call this what's the word? Abstract Trogdor.
I see the strong arm.
Yeah, it's Trogdor when you're on acid. But otherwise, you can find me at all places, Random Tuesday on the internet. Also, she, her. I'll see y'all on Wednesday night. It's gonna be good.